Okay, it says we're live. Let's make sure YouTube is actually live for us. Maybe. There we go.
Yes.
Okay, cool. We are live. Hello. Hi, Shannon.
Hello,
welcome. I honestly loved rereading these volumes too.
But these were such good volumes.
Yes, but really quickly, I do want to say that Marg was not able to join us tonight. Tuesdays are hard for her. So she was not able to join us tonight. Everything's good. She's still part of the team. She just couldn't make it tonight.
Oh yeah.
So I just want to put that out there and make sure everybody knows.
June?
Yeah, she'll be here for the next
one. June? Is it June, July? Yeah. Somewhere in there we'll be back.
It's either end of June or first week of July. I haven't done the math yet. Yeah. We'll figure it out.
I haven't either. We'll figure it out. It's fine.
But yes, hi. Welcome, everybody. Hi. If you're new to these streams, we are going to be talking about 5 volumes of Yona of the Dawn because this is part 8 of Yona-along. We've been doing this read along all year long. I've said long.
We're officially
hitting the halfway point.
Yeah, we're like officially halfway, I feel like. Because we're not going to get to, we might get to 40 this year. I don't.
We might get to 40 this year. But the cover for 41 has dropped. Have you seen it yet?
No.
Okay, hold on. We're going to share my screen. I'm going to share it with everybody.
Oh no. Oh. Whoa, I had lots of feelings these volumes. I am not ready for our continuation in 5 weeks.
Oh my gosh, right?
And yes,
okay, let me now share my screen now that I have it pulled up. There we go. Look at her.
Oh, I love this.
I love it so much. There's 39. I don't remember what 40 looks like.
I don't remember.
Let me quickly change the search to 40. Oh, yeah.
Is that 40?
Oh my gosh, 40 is this one.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I remember looking at this one. Yeah. Okay. I am. Oh god. Okay.
I am so pumped for what's to come in the series.
41 may face out on my shelf. Let's just put it that way.
41 is stunning. 40 is also stunning. Yeah. And I have feelings about it, but I also haven't read past volume, I think it's 35, because everybody said, or maybe it's 36.
Because I'm on 30. I have 37 and 38 to read.
Because 36 is where everybody was mad. So I haven't read 36. They said 37 was better, and I haven't read 38.
And we've heard 38 is great.
Okay. Anyways, now that we've done that and just had a moment for pretty covers, let's go ahead and talk about these volumes. Let's quickly talk about just kind of our non-spoilery feelings about these volumes, and then we'll jump into full spoilers. Okay. If you've not read Yona of the Dawn at all, you might want to jump out now, because we will be spoiling things that happened obviously early in the series, because we're 16 volumes. So anyways, so Izzy, kind of tell me just your feelings in general about this chunk of 5 volumes.
I forgot. We were texting about this. I forgot so much of this chunk that I didn't realize I forgot it. I also just left. One of my favorite side characters is still Lady Riri. Like, I adore her.
Oh my god!
And this reread,
I love their friendship.
Me adoring her
so freaking much.
Yeah, so it's great. It's fantastic.
Talk about an amazing female friendship that didn't necessarily have to be there, but I love with all my heart that it is there. Because Yona needs female friends.
And it's just so natural and feels like many of my female friendships.
Exactly. An organic friendship that develops just naturally. Like, none of it is forced. No one's forcing anything here other than Riri saying, I'm intrigued. I want to get to know her. And then she makes an effort to run into her again. But then things just naturally happen for them to become friends. And it's the best.
Exactly.
And tears were shed in these chunk of volumes for me.
I did not cry.
Multiple times.
I just kept going, God, I was like, I kept forgetting all of this was in here. I forgot so many times that all of this was in here.
Yeah.
So
it's mostly like, what volume was it? 19, I had some tears. 18, obviously, I had some tears. And then I think it's 16 that I had a few. Maybe it was 17. I can't remember. But
yeah,
tears were shed abundantly for me in this chunk.
wow.
Because this is really where we start getting to the meat of the emotions of the characters for me. And
Agreed.
we get a particular character's backstory that we hadn't gotten up to this point. And their backstory is extremely emotional for me because you feel everything that they felt. And there's just one little panel, I'll bring it up when we're speaking about it, that just sent me. I was just like, okay, this is too much. No.
Yeah.
But anyways,
there was a lot that I don't blame you for crying. Like, I feel like I might have in another state of mind cried. So
yeah. I was an emotional little bean as I reread these.
Listen, it just keeps
I read it during the wrong week, okay?
Listen, I'm also there, and I somehow did not cry from it, so I don't know.
I am proud of you for not crying. All right, so at this point, we're going to go ahead and jump into spoilers volume by volume, and that's just kind of how we do these things. So we're going to start with volume 16. Izzy, did you have notes, by the way?
No.
Or did you just read it?
I meant to grab my volumes and bring them up and flip through them as we talked, and I forgot them on the steps.
Yeah.
Because we started talking, and then I was going to run down and grab them, and I forgot to go grab them. So go ahead.
We're still in the Water Tribe dealing with all the drug peddling and whatnot. And we have Riri really kind of flexing her quote unquote stolen power from the seal of her dad. And so this panel of her where she just says, but our people's survival is at stake. You will obey me as if I were the Water Tribe chief himself. And immediately everybody just bows. I'm just like, yes, queen.
Yeah.
Yes, go.
Yes. I love
you
that.
for that. I hear a very snorty Millie.
Yeah, I just pulled her off her foot because she was chewing on it. I was like, you cannot do that right now.
And then I had a good chuckle moment where this idiot was just like talking about how, oh, the new emperor is only 19. He can't do a thing about it. And all of a sudden the dragons are unleashed upon him. And I'm just like, yes. Take him down. And can we just talk about Hawk's battle panels every time?
They're so good.
They just
all of his so many this set of 5 also like that were just spectacular. I loved the drug like stuff, like coming back to it, like, you know, to discuss it again. So it wasn't just left in the previous volumes as like, okay, this is done and handled.
And then we have this moment where we realize that Suwan has told them everything will be fine because the Thunder Beast is there, and he automatically knows who's talking about him, and that is obviously Suwan. And the drug dealer isn't handling the fact that his plans are being messed with by a girl with red hair. Like, the art on his like feral face is just insane every time.
It's spectacular.
Seriously. And then we have Riri trying to defend Yona, and she's like, "No, stop talking," because Suwan's right there, and she doesn't want Suwan to know how.
Yeah, I loved that entire setup where like he's there and they're there, and it's like, oh shit. And we kind of like. But then we have this moment
where Zeno jumps in front, then Suwan jumps in front.
Yes.
And then Suwan has his own shield in judo, so we have all these shields lined up in front of Yona.
Yes.
And the symbolism of it, like, sent me. I was having a moment with it.
It was just like, oh, we're doing the shield thing again. We haven't done this in a hot second.
But
here really, we are.
I'm gonna die on this hill, y'all, for my theory crafting, is that Suwan is the shield from the prophecy. Zeno is a dragon, so you can't really consider him the shield in the prophecy, in my opinion, because Suan is basically her political shield. He knew that things were a mess, and with what we know about him later, that he had a shorter time frame than he thought. That's all I'm going to say about that. And so he had to make his move when he did for reasons. And so
we also, in this set of 5, he kind of admits to like doing this because he wants to better the kingdom, not doing this to be king. Is that in volume 20?
I want to say it's 19 or 20. It's coming up.
Yeah, like I know we're not there yet, but I feel like we're seeing like Suan's like less I'm gonna kill your dad to take over feelings, and more like what he's actually attempting to do and why he's doing it in this volume. Like we start to see that more here.
And then we have Zeno over here like speaking sense when he realizes Suan tries to get Yona to stop shooting so that she doesn't hurt her back, not for any other reason. And Zeno just kind of puts her back in perspective. There's only one person who is your enemy right now. You're smart. If you think we should take action, Zeno will help you. And it's great. Like, I really love this whole thing because then she takes down the, like, arrow sniper guy anyway. And Suan is just like, what? Who is this person? I don't know her anymore. And it's just kind of an amazing moment. And then Judo's like, I'd prefer if you stay put. And Yona's like, no, I'll follow my own judgment, thank you. And I'm just like,
yeah.
Because he still sees her as a little girl, Judo does. Because he was a good 10 or more years older than them. So he sees them as kids still.
Yeah.
But then we have this moment with Judo, which I really appreciate. He's like, I have never wished for your death. I can't be shaken by this. I chose Suan as my king. I can't let myself be swayed by my emotions. So clearly he feels all the things as well.
About Yona. And doesn't want to just kill her either.
Exactly. And then whatever his name is, the feral drug guy, goes to stab Yona. Zeno jumps in front. But once again, we have Hawk jumping in to save the day because Hawk will never let Yona get hurt if he is anywhere near her. He's like, no, my queen, do not touch. And then, of course, Hawk just goes feral. He doesn't need his glaive. He just punches him in the face.
I know, which is so funny.
But then we have this moment because they have not truly had a showdown up to this point yet.
Yeah.
And this part,
those panels,
this whole part artistically is just so top tier. He is just feral trying to go after Suan. And it is crazy. And of course, Judo tries to step in. But Hawk doesn't care. He just takes him out because he's in the way. And again, like, these panels, like, if people say there's no action in shonens or shoujos, like, read Yona of the Dawn, please. And get past, like, volume 10. Because there is.
I mean, it's because I don't want to read it. Let's be honest.
Yeah. But then there's this moment. This moment right here. Where Suan is basically frozen and he could not move because Hawk is looking like this.
Yep.
He's like, I don't know this person. He was so in shock. And then the dragons are doing everything they can to keep him in check. And he says, let go. I will never forgive him. Like, he's shouting this at Suan. And the only thing that calms him is Yona coming in and saying that, Hawk, I'm right here. I'm all right. And touching him to help ground him.
Yeah.
And, like, I love a man that will go feral for someone he cares about so deeply. And I love that the only thing that calms him is her.
Yeah.
I have this in the actual book I'm reading right now too, so I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm just having a moment.
It's the best. I know that's like one of my faves things ever.
Right. Hawk is not quite morality chain, but he's close. He's very close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, because he has a lot more morals.
Yeah. The current one
more morals.
Yeah. I'm doing Twisted Lies right now, so I'm definitely dealing with morality chain right now.
Oh, 100%. That is, yeah.
100%. I've only got about an hour and a half left in the audiobook, so yeah. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. I mean, Izzy and I could talk about anything for a while, but and then we get back to Riri here. And she's so funny. She's like, "Here, food rations for you," as she's trying to like.
I know, they're so
have
cute.
This little goodbye with Yona, and they're like, "I didn't tell her we're leaving the day after tomorrow." And I just love that Owl's like hanging on the food ration.
Yeah,
like he's just floating around.
I know.
It's just so cute.
He's like, I need to eat.
And Hawk was so injured after the fight, after he went feral, that you know he's just trying to heal up. And it's funny because the dragons don't feel like negativity from Suwon when they're in his presence. So like they have very mixed feelings on Suwon. And
I feel like they don't know how to make a call or judgment because like
exactly.
They didn't witness what they witnessed.
Hawk and Yona are very personally invested in their feelings about Suwon. Granted, we learn more about Yona's later in these volumes, but Hawk is very clear that no, he's done with Suwon.
Which is valid.
I think in time that does settle, but for now he's like, nope, I can't see it at all. Anyway, so then Yona and Hawk have a moment where they go into the forest. She's carrying wood, and like Hawk is like, "No, I'll carry it for you." And she's like, "No, you're injured. Let me carry it." And he's like, "Nope, this is nothing for me." And then she goes to hold his hand and squeeze it, and she's like, "See, you have no grip." And then he squeezes back, and she's like, "Ow! How can you possibly squeeze so hard when you're hurt? Are your muscles made of steel?" And then he laughs and has this little soft smile.
It's so cute. I just love like their interactions in this volume.
Smiled, like a whole panel is dedicated to 2 words because of what it means to her. And then she's just crying about it because she's Yona, and she's like, "You always see me being vulnerable," but then she hugs him back so tight, and I'm just like, oh, I love them.
I just feel like we're like, and it does feel like every couple volumes here we move a little further into the relationship, but like these ones I felt like we made a lot of progress.
It wasn't so much Hawk opening up about his feelings at this point, it's Yona reciprocating said feelings.
Exactly. And like we made progress.
That's not something we've gotten up to this point.
No.
You know, in her ways she shows her feelings, but now and then we jump back to Suwon and crew. And Judo basically gets in his face and says, if you want to die, then do it after you've achieved all your goals. Because he had frozen, and he's kind of explaining all of that. But it's funny to me because once he's back, like his little eagle, bird, falcon, whatever it is, greets Suwon when he enters the kingdom. And then after his talk with Judo, he's like, go out and play, Golfon. And the bird just flies away. And he thinks about them as kids when they watch the bird fly away as well. So it's just, there's so much going on here. I feel like I'm going to ramble too much. So tell me to stop whenever you need to.
No, you're fine. I'm mad at myself because I literally like meant to run down and grab them. We started chatting and I didn't. And
do we need to pause?
Is it the next?
You can?
No, it's fine. Is the next volume Xeno's story?
No, that's 18.
Is that 18? Okay. Because I feel like here we're also starting to get like
we learn about Xeno's power in 17. And then 18 is the full download.
Okay. I was like, which order was it? Okay. Yeah, this volume, I love 16. I was so happy to be back. I mean,
I mean, we have Riri pouting because she finds out they're leaving, and
I know. And
her goodbyes with them are so sweet. And I love her ladies in waiting. And they have this big goodbye feast. And we find out that Lady Riri's ladies in waiting recognized Hawk, and they talk to him about it. And he's like, "Will you report us to the water tribe guy?" I forget his name.
And they're like, "No."
Gunji. On Gunji. That's what it is. And she says, "I've devoted my life to him and Lady Riri. I'll do anything that will be of service to Lord Gunji. However, I'm not foolish enough to believe that they are all that matters. The tribe owes a great deal of debt to you. Wherever your journey takes you, please be careful." So she's not going to turn them in, even though she knows who they are. And Yona and Riri really just have the sweetest friendship, and they just she's like, "If you're ever in trouble or need a shoulder to cry on, send word to me. I'll be there as fast as I can." I mean, this is the epitome of female friendship. Like, what they have is sweet and pure and the best kind of friendship.
And
then she's like, "Try to remember me at least." Riri says, "Try to remember me at least a little bit." And then Yona's like, "I can never forget a friend I went into battle with." And then she's embarrassed. And she's like, "You're unbelievable." And I just love it. Like, their friendship is the sweetest.
Super cute. Little cuties. Is this okay? Wait, is this the volume in which she does she go back to her dad in this volume, or is it the beginning of 17?
Her dad comes to her in this volume.
Her dad comes to her. Okay.
And banishes her from her palace.
Yeah, okay. So is this volume when she gets banished? Okay. I love that. So and the way he was like
as her punishment.
Yeah, even though it's not really a punishment.
Even though it's not really a punishment.
As we find out, which is interesting.
Yeah. And then we call a 5-tribe council. So we have everybody together, and we have Little Hawk. Not Littlest Hawk we meet, but Little Hawk here representing the Wind tribe. And we have Kyoga, the older fire tribe prince or whatever he would be called, there as well. So there's lots of new faces, and they decide
and faces we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
At least not all together, so.
So they're going to be taking back a piece of land that was originally given up to them. Or given to I think it's the Kai Empire? No, not Kai. Sei. The Sei Empire.
The Sei Empire. So, and it's a piece of land that has like rotated back and forth between them. We've come to find out in the next volume, I think, ish. And like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
As well, that it just like flip-flops constantly.
But we have this moment with Zeno, which artistically I just love, for one, because this has its own symbolisms, and him looking off into the distance with it it hits different now, and I just love it.
Yeah, it does. Well, and we're finally I feel like we haven't gotten a lot of Zeno time yet until now.
Exactly.
Even though, like,
Zeno's the last dragon we run into, and the way he appears, you don't really get his backstory because he just appears.
Exactly.
So I think that's
which all makes sense.
16.
Yeah.
Did you have any more thoughts on 16?
No, I'm with you on all of it. Yeah. So much
we find out. Oh, the last thing is Lady Riri does reveal where she is, and it's like this gorgeous villa, and she's like, "Wait, this is my punishment?" So
yeah. No, I think the only other thing is that like I know, like, we keep saying this, but I really feel like these 5 volumes, like, every time I feel like they're stuffing more and more in as we keep going. Somehow.
I agree.
I don't know how. I'm very amazed by it.
When we get into the heavier, like, battle-centered volumes, you don't have quite as much. So I feel like she really packs it in the ones that aren't so battle-centered. Yes, there can be a fight or two within them, but, like, the big, epic, sweeping, war-like battles, there's not usually as much detail and information in those. So she packs it in where she can.
Exactly.
So 17, I believe, is the volume that probably surprised me the most.
This is the one where we both forgot a lot, right?
Yeah, I had forgotten basically this entire volume. So, anyways, we start with this kid trying to steal food, and Ao is like hanging on to him. And Yona is like, okay, you're hungry? Let me fix this. So she shoots a bird for him. And she's like, here, take this to one of those shops over there and they'll buy it from you. And the kid's like, wow, amazing. You're such a cool woman. I like you. Come be my wife. And this is the one I called the tiniest Hawk because he's very bold and he kind of looks like Hawk. And there's his love for Yona and things like that. That's why I'm like, he's the tiniest Hawk. And then, of course, we have Yoon and Gija just like getting on the kid for that kind of a statement. They're all very protective of her.
That's so cute.
Who are these guys? Your boyfriend? Nope. Then why not me? I appreciate powerful women and I'll be good to you. Like, the kid is doing everything.
It was so funny.
It's adorable. And then he realizes that, oh yeah, it is the Kai Empire. So he came from Kai, like he had gone into Coca, and he's like, I wanted to see what it was like because he lives in a village that is currently part of the Kai Empire, but it was part of Coca. And
I think the villages say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe that's it.
I think so.
Yeah. And then Sheena sees that there's lots of soldiers coming, so they have to take a different route. And it's really kind of amazing, but Jay has to carry everybody. And it's kind of cool. He gets to a point where he says, I wish the men would jump across themselves. Because Hawk's like, that was fun. Because he's like, Hawk and Sheena were awful heavy. But, Hawk's smiling, so Yona's happy. And the kid notices that Yona's paying a lot of attention to Hawk. And then they kind of have this really cute, Hawk and Yona have this little cute moment where he like teases her about it. And gosh, really I love their banter back and forth. It's so cute.
I know. They're adorable. Like, they're just so cute.
They really are.
I need them to kiss again. That's what I need. I feel like we're being edged to death in this series.
They haven't kissed yet. He's kissed her on the forehead. They haven't kissed on the lips yet.
I know. That's what I'm saying. We're being edged to death.
We really are. We really are. It's pretty amazing.
It is.
If you have comments or anything, please jump in. Say whatever you need. We are not the only people who need to be talking. And then this is where all the dragons start to get sick. And I had totally forgotten this had happened.
I did too. Completely forgot. I forgot. I'm not like, I was like you. This whole volume, I was like, huh, this happened, huh? I had no idea this happened.
Yeah. But I think, we both kind of came into it late enough in like Yona volumes that we read through it so fast that some of these details kind of got missed because I felt that a few times. And then,
I don't disagree.
The kid brings the dragons back to his village and he's like, they're sick. They were so good to me. Please help them. And they're like, they're from Coca. We shouldn't, but they do anyway. And then we jump to Suwon at the palace making plans to take back what Coca will reclaim belongs to it by right. So I guess it was originally Coca's, and then in King Eel's reign, he traded it for peace reasons, I guess. And now Suwon's trying to take it back, is what it seems like.
Yep.
Anyways, all the banter of the sick dragons is hilarious. And Yoon can't figure out why they're sick until it's Gija and then it's Jeha, I think, that was sick. And then we talk about...
all ended up sick by the end, right?
Yeah. But we start having the discussion about how the dragons are weaker, except for Zeno. And about how they're just frail, and as soon as another dragon is born, they start to deteriorate and die. And Jeha talks about, he's like, I'm one of the oldest. It's very possible that, you know, a new dragon could be born in my village at any point. And it's just really a sad thing. And Yoon walks in and figures it out. But through it all, Zeno's just kind of looking on. He's not really contributing much to the conversation. And that just hits different with what we're about to learn about Zeno, too.
Yeah. Yeah,
there's and when you already know it, it hits so different.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is I was like
build up to learning about him.
And I feel like in 16 I was waiting, like I was like, this has to be coming. Like we have to talk about his past and what it's been. And then I was just like waiting. And I was like, okay, are we there yet? And then this time I was like, it is coming now. We are going to discuss this.
And so officially at this point, all the dragons are sick, and we see Koka marching on the to get their kingdom back. And, you know, he kind of has a bonding moment with the Fire Tribe guy. The battle's quick and efficient, and they try to not drag it out, because Suwon doesn't necessarily want a lot of people to die. But he knows that he has to show power for people to take him seriously.
Yep. Which is like true, like of any leader, right? There's a balance of showing power and how you want to approach things. And I feel like generally speaking, you would probably not want a bunch of people to die, which makes sense.
Anyone who does is clearly just a tyrant, and we don't want them in power anyway. But that's not Suwon, as we continue to learn. And
get to appreciate him more on reread somehow.
Oh, I know, right? And Yona kind of has this like moral dilemma, because she's like, I don't understand why Suwon is doing this, and I don't like that the villagers are the ones paying the price, because she had overheard some people in the village talking about how they're the victims of wars.
Yeah.
They're like, you know, the leaders can plan all they want, but we're the victims here. Especially those outskirt ones. And then Zeno is in the tent taking care of the dragons. And he makes this comment that just like, this is part of what started me getting emotional, I think, is he says, I'm the reject of the 4 dragons, but I will absolutely protect you all. And that just, then he says the battle is over, but something bad is on its way. And Zeno has this foresight because of all of what we learn later. I can't say it quite yet. But because of what we know about Zeno, like, it just hits different.
It does. You're not wrong.
So the soldiers that were taken down, the Kai Empire soldiers that were taken down by Suwon soldiers, start going feral in the next town over, saying, if they try to take these lands for us, we're not going to give them anything. We're not going to give them our people or anything. And so they're just going on a slaughter. And it's like awful. Reading that part hurt. Like reading volume 17 hurt because of that.
Yeah, that part was hard. Well, and what a god-awful reaction to losing is that you're going to go slaughter the people.
You're going to go slaughter the people that were in your country. Like, they don't matter to you. They are just pawns now. And I hate that.
And I was like, that's just awful.
And then Yona runs into the kid because he was in the next town. And they're starting to learn what's really going on here. And Hawk's like, I'm going to deal with this. Let me fight with you. And, Yona asks to fight with him. And he said, you'll be on the way. Hurry and go. Please don't cry. I'd never cry over anything you say, she says. But then we have
the face touch.
This moment where he's pushing away her tears. Like, everything about this.
And just the way he grabbed her face. All of that.
It's just so tender. And he says, forgive me just for now. And I'm just like, Hawk, Why did I not want you to be with Yona when I first read this?
I don't know how you didn't want that, because that's all I've ever wanted.
I was not a huge Hawk fan on my first read until about this point. But I am all in for Hawk on this reread. No one else is meant to be with Yona except Hawk. Period. I don't care what anybody says, it's the truth. And then he says what he was trying to say kinder. He's like, please go right now. Your job is to protect Calgon, the kid. And so she runs off with the kid, and then he's there attacking all the soldiers, trying to take them down. The dragons realize what's going on, and they take off to go help. And I just have to say, I love that they did this popularity poll, and that
this was so cute.
I am not surprised that this is the top 4 at all. No. Even though Sheena is best boy to me, everybody else loves Jeha, and I love Yoon. But Sheena's 5th.
I mean, I love them all.
Him. I mean, I hate that Zeno's so low. He should not be 8th, in my opinion. I would put Zeno before this point.
At this point, though, in the story, you don't know enough about Zeno to rank him higher.
Right. And that's, I think, part of the reason why we do get his story. But I mean, it's time for his story anyway. But
it is. We've been kind of waiting for a while now. I love the dragons are like, we're sick, but we're still gonna help.
But they all are getting injured along the way, and it's crazy. And then Sheena tries to use his power, but it's not a good time because he's still so sick, so it doesn't go very far and doesn't work very well. And then Zeno enters the fray, and this is where we learn about Zeno's power. Where Zeno is immortal, and he gets stronger the more he's attacked, as long as he is deliberately attacked. If he does the attacking, it doesn't do anything. Are they having a play moment over there?
No. Milla's asleep.
I hear peas, so I'm like, wait, are they playing?
No, I don't know what she's doing downstairs.
This whole panel, this moment with Zeno, I just can't. It's
his entire backstory guts me every time.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to talk about is that the dragon's powers dampen the further they are from Hiryu Palace. Because that conversation happens earlier, and I just kind of glanced over it when they were sick. But yeah, Zeno's like, it's taking me longer to heal because I'm farther from the palace. And so at this point, when he reveals what he can do, he says, I am the dragon who was born to be your shield. As long as the yellow dragon shields you, no one can ever harm you. Because that is how he feels about himself. And he says this in chapter 99. It takes 99 chapters before we get Zeno's power.
I know.
And then we have
wild. It is wild it took this long.
Right. And that's where that volume technically ends. And then we have a bonus story about Jeha's past and his time with his predecessor. They kept trying to save him because they didn't understand his powers. I was so emotional. And then it gets to a point where Jeha has a chance to escape. And he was like, no, I'll take you with me. And he's like, nope. You got to get out of here on your own. But this is the predecessor when Jeha's like, fly with me. And I'm just like, my emotion. I'm so emotional.
It was a lot. I forgot how emotional that one was.
But then, this goodbye, you can tell he doesn't mean anything he says. He's saying it for the people around them.
Yeah.
But he's like, I can't escape. You have to go, kid. It's too late for me. Go be free. And it makes you feel a little different about Jeha, He's not.
I think it gives you a lot more empathy towards him. And how
I completely agree. And it's not that Jeha's a dislikable character by any means.
No, but he
just
comes
gives you
off
the
as
empathy
just
to help him fill in the blanks.
Yeah, like why is he such a playboy? What is the real, like what is he covering up?
Mm-hmm. Oh, now we get
she's out.
Now we're going to get to a very emotional volume, which is volume 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got Xeno is amazing, my favorite character in this whole series. I cried so hard during Xeno's story. Yeah, me too. Both times I've read it.
I honestly was surprised I didn't cry more. I think because I knew I didn't cry this time, whereas the first time I did cry. Yes, we do need tissue
warnings. Honestly, like this whole first chapter of volume 18 is Xeno truly revealing his power and how brutal it is. I mean, at one point his arm is even cut off and he's still attacking and alive. But he looks at his friends and looks at Yona and just smiles and keeps doing what he's doing to protect them as best he can. And it's hard to watch because you're seeing all of their reactions to it. I mean, at one point his head is even chopped off and he comes back. And then he's asked, "Why aren't you dead?" And his answer is, "I finally found her." And I lost it. Like, I'm still like teary just thinking about it.
It's so good.
And then he says, "Tear me apart all you please. I'll still shield them." And then we learn that he hardens up and gets harder to kill the more they attack him. And it's amazing. And then after that, Yona obviously is distraught and has to go and hug Xeno and make sure he's real and okay. And like the group hug here, like I just love it.
It's precious.
Because even my shy little Sheena is there, like wanting to hug him, and I'm just like, my bean.
Yeah.
And Xeno's response to all of it is, "You're all so adorable." And then this is where we learn that Xeno is the one and only yellow dragon because he cannot die.
Yep. And what a lonely life he's had to lead for it.
Yes. But it's not all bad. He did get married. He did experience love.
He did.
That this just cuts me in the worst way.
He just
he also admits that
he was secretly the emo one.
Yes. And it's funny because he reveals that he's been like lurking in the shadows this whole time. Where he saw them escape Hiryu Palace. He saw them go get Geisha. He's been with them all along the way, kind of as a test to make sure Yona is who he thought she was. And it's amazing. It's beautiful. And we see them all start to look at Xeno a little bit differently. And he has this really cute moment with Geisha where Geisha says, "If you'd come to the White Dragon Village, we and our ancestors would have welcomed you so that he wouldn't have lived so alone."
And then this is when do we get the moments of him going to see all the dragons as children?
I believe that's in this volume as well, yeah.
I was like, that's this volume, right? Because that was also so sad and sweet all at one go.
Yeah. And then we get to meet all of the original dragons and how they thought of Xeno as weak as well because he'd never really had a chance to show his power because it's not a fighting kind of power. And about their camaraderie and how their personalities are a little different from our current dragons, but not so much.
There seems to be some themes for each color dragon to some extent.
Yeah, exactly. But one thing that we learn early on, shortly after Xeno becomes the yellow dragon, the Crimson King realizes the sad and tragic life that Xeno will lead and has this emotional moment with him. And that's when he gives him his medal that he wears in his hair. And it's a reminder that I am always with you, is what the Crimson Dragon King says. And all the other dragons are like, I want one. He's like, oh, that's the only one I have. Whoops. Did you want one? And in a lot of ways,
that is all of the dragons now too, though. Like if Yona did that, they would all do the same thing. Same thing.
It's like Yona, I want one. Yeah, that's exactly what they would do. In a lot of ways, the Crimson Dragon King is very much personality-wise a lot like Yona. After the king had died, all of the dragon warriors are kind of sought out for their power, and so a lot of them just go into hiding. Like when Zeno comes to the Crimson Dragon King before he dies, trying to learn about the real power of the yellow dragon, and then he passes away. That whole moment just hurts because you see how vulnerable Zeno is with the Crimson Dragon King. Yeah. And we haven't seen Zeno be quite that vulnerable with Yona, and I think we know why now. Yeah. This section and the next volume need to have warnings to bring tissues. Yes, I completely agree. Like all 5 of these volumes, really, you should have a tissue box pretty close by, or just read them when you're not feeling extra emotional, because I was having a time. I'm trying to like do this very clinically so I don't cry. But yeah, so they all go off, and Zeno's like, I'm gonna stay here. You guys all go have normal lives as best you can. And the white dragon says, hey, promise to come see me when I settle down. And Zeno says, of course, but Zeno's like, no, I don't want to see them aging. I don't want them to see me still as a little kid. And he never goes to see any of them. But it's interesting because he is mid-battle as they all go, because they all go about the same time.
Yeah.
And you see him lose his friends because he feels each one of them as it happens. And his shout is, don't go, don't leave me behind. And you just
it's so sad. Okay, we gotta go. We gotta move. We can't do this.
Just recalling this has me weepy again. I know. I'm trying to go fast. I am.
Okay.
And then the next this is when he realizes that the dragon powers are passed down genetically, because he runs into another white dragon. And then he stumbles upon the girl who found him in the woods, and that ends up growing, like they spend years together, and she ends up becoming his wife. And it's the sweetest thing because, like, I just love it. He gets to experience that, and I love it. And he asks the dragon gods to save his wife because she's ill. And then she says, let's meet again up in the sky. And he says, yeah. And then you have this panel. I'm sorry. I know, but...
Oh my God, this panel.
This panel. Forever and always will make me so emotional because I'm going to cry. I need to move on.
Okay, we gotta keep going. I can't do that panel.
I don't need to say anymore. I can't either. So anyways, Zeno wanders for a very long time. And then this next round of dragons are born, and he goes to visit each and every one of them, and he has conversations with all of them. Well, most all of them. I loved his with Sheena in particular. He and Geisha have a very normal one, but I love the one with Sheena because who was that? He's like, he gave me this. He's like, a merchant, huh? And he's like, no, a yellow dragon. Like, he immediately knows who he is, but doesn't say anything. And then Zeno sees how bad Jeha's treated and doesn't really wake him, but he's there and just kind of has a moment. And then we jump back to present time where he's with everybody. And he says, "Look how big you've all gotten," and I'm just like,
yeah, it's an emotional one.
Yeah, but thankfully you end up having a fun bonus chapter at the end with just normal fun dragon shenanigans,
as we needed. Yeah,
yes,
this is a rough volume, but also like I really appreciated that though he couldn't go see the dragons as they got old. He was like, "I will go see your descendants," because I like to assume that he visited the descendants each time too, like that he didn't just see the current crew, like that he would go through and see all of them every time. So like he was kind of like, I'm checking in on your descendants at least, even though I couldn't be there for you. Maybe like I like to think that that's
even though I was too afraid to meet back up with you, I'm at least gonna check in on your descendants in case it's time.
Yeah.
Oh, and now we're gonna get to volume 19, which I have,
which is also
about, and it was one I had completely forgotten.
Well, because we got our boy.
Let's be real.
And emotions about our boy.
It's about my gorgeous blue boy here. Oh my goodness. I love him. I know. But of course, we start off once again with shenanigans, which is nice after volume 18. And Yona's like, "I'll go bag a bear." And Yoon's like, "Are you going to let her do that?" to the hawk. And he's like, "A bear, huh? She must be pretty hungry." And Yoon's like, "Don't act like that's normal." You know, they're just having fun, normal shenanigans. Sheena's out gathering some wood, and he comes across this dragon statue. And he ends up cutting off its head, and that's where things start to change.
Yeah, this was interesting.
Yeah. And we see that Sheena's acting very differently. He's talking back. He's sassy. He's showing off his eyes, which he never does. And he says straight up to Gija, "Your only power is waving your right arm around. That could never hurt me, you fool." And I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
And then we have the other three dragons gathering together saying, "The council of four
They're having a team meeting."
Yeah. And Yoon is like, "I'm not a dragon. Why am I here?"
And then they called him Mother.
Oh, yes. This is where they start calling him Mother. Yoon is forever so mom to them, and I love it.
Yeah. He has mom energy.
Very much. Let's see. And they're all like, "Okay, Sheena, where's Al? You're not acting like yourself." And they finally ask him, "Who are you?" And then Jeha realizes what's going on and immediately covers Gija's eyes before the power can be unleashed. And we kind of go into this moment where the person in Sheena's body, we'll say, kidnaps all the dragons.
Yeah.
And when Yona and Hawk come back, they're like, "Okay, what happened?" Yoon gives the rest of the context because Yoon gets knocked out. But since the power didn't work on Zeno, he just had to tie him up and drag him, essentially.
Yep.
Which was kind of funny in the middle of that. And then they all end up going back to where the dragon statue was and find out it's kind of like a mausoleum. And so they get sealed in. Yoon quickly tosses rice balls down, which is such a mom thing to do. It's like, "You're going to get stuck here. Have food."
Yeah. And it was great because I was like, it did distract me. Like, it distracted her from that panic of, like, this thing's closing.
Yeah.
And then what? It's her and Hawk in the dark for a hot minute?
Yeah. And
she collapses.
Passes out.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to figure out what's going on. They see masks kind of like Sheena's. And this blue dragon that's in Sheena's body wants basically to inhabit Zeno at this point. And Xeno's like, I don't recommend doing it. Even if the whole world disappears, I'm sure I'll still be here somehow. And kind of talks about that sadness.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, this group of people is headed this way. And so we get to check in. But I love this cuddly moment here. I can't deny it.
I know.
I just have to show it off because I love it.
No,
and then we find out why Yona has passed out. Yes, we all love Mama Yoon. Mama Yoon forever.
The best.
The best. But basically, Sheena forced her to pass out so that he could talk to her like telepathically in a way. So that he could explain what's going on. He's like, it's not me. Someone's taken over my body. It's the vengeful spirit of the dragons. And
I loved how they explained this and what was going on. I thought it was really well done to have her pass out and not tell the story of like why this weird dragon statue existed.
This moment,
so cute.
I love it because she's like, it'll be okay no matter what you do. Your place in our hearts won't change. Let's go back together. And then she wakes up. Face touching back.
I know. The best.
And then we have this moment with Hawk. Am I dreaming? She's like, snap out of it, Hawk. Because he's like nestled up against her breast. He's like, is this some kind of dream where everything is going my way? Like, that whole moment was great.
Yeah, it was funny. It was good.
And then Xeno gets himself free. And he says to this blue dragon, he's like, to me, you're all the most darling things. And they start all fighting back. And then the blue dragon that's inhabiting Sheena's body sees Yona. P.S. Gorgeous Yona here. Can we just let her have a moment? Because seriously.
That was such a good panel.
Oh. Didn't mean to have Shannon's message again. But he totally changes and starts to cry because he's like, who are you? Why am I terrified? Why is this happening to me? And he tells his whole story to Yona and is able to set Sheena free. And he's like, I'm back. And they couldn't, he's like, he's looking for his masks, Sheena is. And she's like, do you still need it? And he's like, no, but it's special to me. And I'm like, okay, we love you for that. And then he leads them out of the cave. And out there is an angry Yoon. And all of them are like, Mom. I mean, literally all of them call him Mom. And it's just.
It was so cute. It was such a mom thing to find another way also.
Yeah.
To get to them. That wasn't the way that they went in. And I thought that was funny.
Exactly. And then we have more like the 5 chief summit or whatever. 5 tribe council meeting. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And then they're starting to talk about Suwon's romantic things. That
was so funny. They're like, what's his face is on him, like, oh, you got some. And then the way it plays out in the next few volumes is very funny.
Yeah, I agree. And then there's this little sweet moment right here that he's like, Yona, and he puts the flower in her hair. And she's like, it's pretty. Where'd you get it? And he points at the shop. He's like, there. And she's like, I have money, but. And then we see Hawk passed out, and she's like, he's so cute.
I love him just like.
And then he wakes up and
he's sleeping. But like, you also know that he's also in a sleep state at which he's ready to jump at any moment if he hears Yona like yell.
Exactly. And then we have the Xeno fashion show, which just made my heart happy because Sheena's sitting there in the corner. Oh,
yeah, it was really
want to
cute.
See this animated, dang it, because it would be so freaking cute.
I know. We need more than a season.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Zeno shows up in this fancy garb and he's like, "Did you have enough money for that?" And he's like, "Not at all." And it's Lady Riri's ladies in waiting who paid for it. And they're hoping that they'll escort Riri on her journey because she's going to go and try to take care of things on her own again. And so we get the reunion of friends. And yes, we still love Lady Riri. She's great. And I'm glad we weren't without her too long because she's great. Because merchants from Say are illegally selling the drugs.
Yeah, Nadai, whatever it's called.
I want to say it's Nadai.
I think it's Nadai, but then I was like, maybe it's not.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. And then we kind of just get into this like sleepover kind of moment with them. And this is just such a precious thing because it's just this moment of female bonding that they both need. Because it's one thing to have a lady in waiting who's like devoted to you, and it's another to have an actual friend.
Yep, agreed.
And this is where Yona starts to reveal how she feels about the situation with Suwon.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes down to
how complicated it is.
Even if I can't forgive Suwon, I've never truly wanted to kill him either. I can't bring myself to believe that Suwon's kindness to me and Hawk was all a lie. And then, like, I just love the paneling on this one because we have the story going on, but we see Hawk kind of having an introspective moment as they kind of talk about him. And then Yona can't sleep. And so she goes outside and gives Hawk the gift. And it's so precious. Like his face. Look at that face.
I know. He's so unsure about it though too. Like he's like, I don't know how to deal with you giving me this.
Mm-hmm. But then he grabs her hand and says, "Thank you for giving me this. It makes me happy." And I'm just like, so good. But then he says, "The only thing I need to be happy is for you to be happy." And I'm just like, oh, my heart. I love it. And then Yona's kind of having a bad dream. And Riri wakes her up a little bit. And she has this moment where she says, "I didn't quite realize how special Hawk is to me." And I'm like, yep, that's really the progression we need. Yes, let's keep going. Let's see. And then we arrive in the town. There's like a festival going on. Fireworks start going off and people start disappearing. And that's what leads into the next volume. But there is a little side story about just Yona and Hawk, and that was lovely.
Yeah, that was really
lovely, jubbly. All right, last volume that we're going to talk about on this one, which is volume 20. And this one is a more moving the plot forward rather than anything else. And can we take this moment?
But it's so good also.
The cuteness.
So cute.
So cute. Also, all the covers in this set, where it's all the guys just featured on the covers.
Spectacular.
Like, so good. All of them so good. And then we find out that they've been taken into Say to be slaves, essentially. And they don't allow the slaves to drink anything but the alcohol laced with Nadai. And so they're trying to hold out while the guys try to come find them. And yes. It's very,
I love it
good.
So much. If Yona had to be kidnapped with anyone,
have this moment. Yeah.
Yes, this is so good. But yeah, I do feel like Lady Riri is who I want her kidnapped with if I have to pick anyone. So I was very happy about that part. And I also somewhat forgot bits of this one as well, more than I realized.
Like I forgot Suwon was really involved in this part.
I did too.
Like the first part, like the setup to getting there. I thought he just ended up there because he had intel. And so him being there with the the water tribe chief, to be set up with Lady Riri was kind of funny, of course, as we found out later. And so the women are being rebellious, and we just have this moment where Riri, she basically had the Nadai alcohol poured on her because they were trying to force her to drink it. And she's like, I feel quite refreshed now. Thank you. And I love that. And she's like, I want to drink it, but I know I can't. And they're just having a really tough time here. But we see both of their strength, and they try to sneak away and break out because they know if they stay, they'll be killed. And Ao is there, gives them fruit. Mm-hmm. And Riri's having a panic moment because as they were trying to break out, she stabbed someone. And that's a lot to take in for anybody. And so this is especially the first time she's done anything like that. And she's like, she reminded her, if you hadn't done that, I would probably be dead, but forget that for now. Try to sleep. And they just have this beautiful time and moment. And then we realize that the dragons have snuck in as slaves and are just hauling everyone and everything around. And it's amazing.
It was just so funny. Jihad just carrying someone who on top of the planks. I was like, what are you doing? Stop helping them out.
And then the group all gets Suwan's group is getting close to getting there, but he gets General Gunte and Gramps to go with him. And I love that they're there. It's good to see them. And so they go to head in. They're all having a chummy time. We cut back to the dragons. And Hawk is leaning against a wall. And Suwan and Hawk end up having a conversation through the wall. Hawk knows who it is, but Suwan doesn't seem to know. And he's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, okay, we're going to tear down this fort tomorrow. And Hawk's answer is at dawn, I'll give you a signal. And Suwan's like, that will be greatly appreciated. It's so loud. Oh my goodness.
She's on the floor.
Oh my God.
She's not even next to me. Look, it's a rough life here.
But yeah, so Suwan's out there waiting for a signal, and Hawks decided
I love the signal.
To catapult a giant boulder at the wall. It's such a Hawk thing to do, though.
It is.
Chuck something at the wall, and he smashes part of the fort, and he's like, "That's my signal. Let's go." Battle ensues, and we have, various people coming across the dragons, and Sheena's reaction to the little hawk, he's like, he's a literal hawk. He's the one who's currently the real chief, but Monjuk is really in charge. And he's there, he sees Yoon, or Yoon sees him, and he's like, I don't have water with me, but here's some candy.
Yep.
And then we have this moment where I just did nothing but laugh.
Yep. This was so funny.
It's so funny because they're both like, wait, did I actually see them? For a sec, I thought I saw the old man. And the other chief is like, Hawk is here. And then it happens again.
Yep. It's just funny.
But
and then I love that.
Away. And then
and then
figure out what the heck is going on.
And then he's like, what happened to you? And he's like, you hit me with that.
And they're all just having a moment where they realize he's alive. And it's so fun and so cute. It's just a cute little reunion. And then, of course, Monjiok asks the important question, where is Her Highness?
Mm-hmm.
And so then we've got Sheena and Gija running into Suwon.
Mm-hmm.
And Gija's on the defense because, like, he sees the emotional reactions that the others have to him, so it hits different this time. And then Suwon asks, he's like, your hand, were you born that way? What are you? And then they reveal who they are, and everybody's like laughing about it, except Suwon. He's like, I'd like to touch your hand, may I? I love that he asks permission. And so they start to get a very different impression of Suwon, and he's like, the Crimson Dragon King you serve, who is it? And Gija's answer is someone you know well. And so Suwon knows exactly who they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where he admits he has no desire to sit on the throne.
Yep, which was really just an interesting reveal.
Yeah, he says, my only goal is to strengthen our nation so that it can't be invaded. Becoming king was a means to that end. It's amazing. Like, I really just loved it. And Gija admits that he reminds me of Her Highness somehow, because they are both royals in their own way, and I can definitely see that. And Yona and Riri are on the escape and trying to hide. And then Riri goes out to bait the people following them, and she gives Yona a kiss on the forehead and says goodbye, thank you for everything.
Because Yona ended up hurting her ankle.
Uh-huh. So. And that's where we end this volume. So obviously there's more to come in the next set, but this set of volumes, like I said, I think I forgot the most out of the ones that we've read so far. But at the same time, I blitzed through them all so fast that I'm not surprised I forgot some details.
I know I marathoned like 1 through 20 in 2020 and then some. Like, I don't know how many I read in one go.
I think it was the first 24 because you did like 12 and 12. Because you got the first 12 from the library and then you bought the other 12.
I think so, yeah. Because I couldn't get all. I remember I couldn't get all of them, so I was just like, screw this.
Yeah.
But I bought more. I loved this set so much. I mean, I continue to just be reinforced by the fact that I love Yona of the Dawn in general. Agreed. But I think that these 5 really show the strength of the storytelling, where we're like, what's going on, like all of the elements that we get in this manga like are present in these 5 volumes, which I think is beneficial.
And I do think the art has increased and gotten better as the series has gone on.
Yeah, 100%.
And just in general, like getting to see all these characters that we haven't necessarily seen in a minute and just kind of revisiting all of it was really, really fun and really, really good.
And intertwining, our Happy Hungry Bunch and Suwon's stuff more is like that political stuff with Suwon, I think, is like becoming more and more impactful as we go, and much more noticeably a key point that needs to happen, right?
And again, because of where we've read to so far, we know more why now, but we're not going to spoil Yona in this stream, so.
No. We'll spoil it when we get there. But yeah, I just think that, like,
of course.
There's stuff on the reread that you're just like, oh, okay. That's why we're here.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm excited for the next 5. I really had a blast reading these 5 in like 2 days before this live.
Because I feel like when we go to the Sei Kingdom, like there is some really cool stuff happening there that I'm really excited to dive back into, because more female friendships are made and some things like that I think are really important for the future of the series. And it's so good because we love Yona making friends with powerful women, because powerful women are amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's amazing. I mean, all around, it's a good time.
We'll do another live show in 5 weeks after we've read the next 5. We're not 100% sure on days and stuff for that yet, because we need to talk to Marg and get that all coordinated and figured out as well.
And we're staring down holiday weekend time, so.
Yeah, exactly. So once we get those dates, we'll let you know. I'll make sure I add the channel in the Discord to start talking about the next set of volumes. I realized when I was in there a minute ago that I haven't added that yet. So I will definitely add that before I log off for the night. But again, thank you all for watching. Izzy and Marg are both linked down below. So if you're not following them, please do. And I think that's everything for this one. Did you have any more thoughts, Iz?
No, I think that's it. I'm so excited for more.
Oh, same.
Really excited.
All right. Yes, thank you all too. So you all have a good night. Bye.
Yeah, thanks y'all. Have a good